From the capital. This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
The station is now the ultimate power in the universe, baby. Overview Radio, bringing you Overview Podcast with yours truly, Joey Badubi Jr. This is an awesome episode, man. By the way, Chief Ghost is always behind the lens, raining on this awesome episode, man. You know, I'm for this one. I really don't know how to introduce our guest because her CV is very long, bro. Right. She has like the longest. I think she's someone with the longest CV that I've ever introduced to, like on this podcast. Like it's alright, it's more like a private sector, kind of a ministerial role, kind of farming or whatsoever. But she's mostly known for. Okay, she's former minister, former member of parliament. She's former, she's a lot of former things,
High Commissioner.
How does it feel to be former?
It feels great.
It feels great.
Yeah, it feels great.
Okay.
Yeah.
She's former High Commissioner. Mm-hmm. She's former Ambassador of Botswana to Australia.
No, High Commissioner to Australia, but now you
Okay.
address me as what? Ambassador.
Ambassador.
Yes,
Okay.
that one is current for the rest of my life.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Oh, like you're going to be ambassador for the rest. Oh. Yeah, man. This is Ambassador Dorcas Makgato.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
I need that.
You need that energy.
I need that energy.
So you finally here.
Apparently,
Finally.
I'm so embarrassed because you've been looking for me for many years.
So finally. Since
Finally,
it's been
Happy
how
to
long
be
now?
here.
Yeah, like a lot of years, 5, 10 years. 3 years.
No, you're exaggerating. I think you were reaching out 2022, you said. This 2024, maybe 2 years.
Yeah.
But you were reaching out for me when I wasn't home.
Yeah,
I
in
was-
and out and
I was
and
out
all
in
that.
Australia
Yeah.
serving. Yeah.
yeah.
But I'm here.
Okay.
I'm happy to be here.
Yes. Welcome to the show once again.
Thank you.
You're looking very
And thank
good,
you for
eh?
having me.
Man, no problem.
Thank you.
You're looking very good. Yes. Yeah.
I tried. Wasimolo again. Young man. Contain yourself.
Yes. Let us. Okay. Allow this podcast session to be like but it's not structure along the way.
Okay.
Yeah. Let us start with this because growing up, we grew up watching you on TV. Mm-hmm. Yes, and you used the double barrel surname. Mm-hmm. Dorcas Makgato Malesu. Mm-hmm. And then now it's Dorcas Makgato. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we all know why. Yes, understand that you divorced Mr. Makgato and all that.
Mr. Malis.
Mr. Malesu.
Yeah.
Yes, you divorced.
We divorced each other.
Okay, yeah, you divorced each other. I'd like to ask you something on that. Why did you decide to carry on why did you decide to use the double barrel surname from
At the time.
inception?
At the time, I had to because I had already made inroads, and those in the media space will probably understand more, where my name was already a brand in own right.
Yes.
And I remember having a discussion with my then husband, where I was going to be standing for a position at continental level, and people were calling me to say, we don't see your name. Because initially I went by Dorcas Malesu. We don't see your name. We don't see your name. Why? I said, no, I'm married now. So there was a lot of confusion because the name that had been out there was Dorcas Makgato. So we sat down and we discussed, and he encouraged me to say, use both so that there's recognition. And also my certificates, all of them at the time were, there had to be a lot of explaining to do to relate your accolades with the new name. So for us, it made sense at the time that we do both. So that I don't have to keep on explaining. You get to the airport, yeah, I'm now married. Here's a marriage that we didn't want to explain much.
Yeah, well, like the reason why I'm throwing it in is because there's this confusion, like when people, have a buaka and about Dorcas Makgato, about Dorcas Malesu. I remember the first time I sent you like my WhatsApp, I was like Malesu, and then I deleted Kawan now because like I realized that I made an
because I spent a good number of years as Dorcas Makgato Malesu. And at the time, remember, I was also a public figure. So my name was in the airwaves, on TV, on print media.
all the time.
That's why even though I divorced in 2009, which was really the beginning of my government employment, as it were, I didn't change my name until 2014.
Oh, until 2014.
Yeah, and that was because I'd be sworn in as Dorcas Makgato, and then I'd be appointed as Dorcas Makgato. And then it will be easier and you could catch quickly without going. But I've given up. I accept both names.
Oh, yeah, you accept
I
both
cannot
names
have
now.
because my kids are
Oh,
so
okay.
I really don't have a problem with it at all.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Well, guys, Overview Podcast, it's all about God, overcoming, leadership, evolution, as well as health. So that's why we having this conversation with Me Makgato. Yes, like Lema Makgato today. Starting with God, how has faith influenced your life in general?
First of all, I must compliment you, and we said this off camera.
Yes.
I've never ever in my entire life done an interview where we started with a prayer. CNN, Al Jazeera, BBC, been there, done that, got the T-shirt. And so it was pleasant to be surprised, especially as a young man. And we always believe that without faith, you don't go far.
Yes.
Now I grew up Kolontoni. Commonly referred to as UCCSA.
Yeah, UCCSA. Same
so,
here.
So, ke Sunday school, from Sunday school, ke krema, Jehovah ki mudisa wami, Psalm 123.
Yeah, Psalm 23.
Psalm 23
yeah,
rather.
Psalm
Ke akanse 101. Ke akanse ke tatsulela matho ami go dithabe nthusa me tatso ka tatso gojo. So that's how I grew up with my gran.
Yes.
Go so ro re tsana lontoni re tsana Sunday school. From there you go to youth camps. Where you now start challenging certain things, and I remember ngile challenge our Kolontoni king re kolobetsa re ba sa hapano John wa mokolobetsa John the Baptist and na tibisa batho mo metsing, so until ke ba ke amogela mo kerekeng up until today I'm a full member ya Broadhurst. So Tumelo is part and parcel of who I am.
Were there any moments in your life where you had to solely rely on God or on faith?
Oh yeah. Especially when you get married in church, and then you take your vows in church, and you mean them, and then you are challenged, and it's almost like you are defying that which a conversation that you had with God. So it was the biggest challenge of my life, where I had to now say, this is what I'm gonna do. And it was against my faith. It was against everything else that I had agreed with God, but I felt it was necessary to do. So at that point in time, I relied a lot on God. And I have a funny story.
Yeah.
I was doing a degree with the University of Leicester at the time, a long distance, and I had gone there, would go there twice a year. And I was going through next time Bible, and I enjoyed it. It was reading very simple. So and then I didn't. And then as I was checking out, there was the general manager of the hotel. I was like, you have a beautiful Bible, easy to read. I wanted to steal it, but I decided, and this guy said, ma'am, we'll give you a Bible. No need to steal it. So, yeah.
Yes. So what is your general or overview or overall understanding of God? How do you understand God? Because for me, I understand that God is inside of me and is inside of you, like is inside of all of us.
I believe that everywhere I am, everywhere I've been, everything that I do, there's always a God. To an extent that I find using God as an anchor, it eases my life. God, when you say God take control, especially sometimes when you're going through difficult times and you really don't know where to go or you're headed, and you say God take control, or you feel like you are empty, and then you say Modimo tse taolo. I get it, and you say it is well with me. I get it. Kana ora pela thapelo a morena. A lot of us ha re bala thapelo a morena. I bua yone ka bu yone go bolela gore Modimo laole se ileng gore ke tshwanelo ya one. And then that's how I live. I always anchor knowing full well that more in thulaganyo ya Modimo. When I lost my elections, for instance, I was very clear in my mind, these are not for me. And whatever I do, whether it's negative or positive, I always know hore there's a greater God out there. And I also know that God works in mysterious ways.
Yeah.
For instance, when I went to Australia, one would have been very mad that you lost an election. Australia was the best for me. I had time to reconnect with my kids, my boys, all of them right now are in Australia, at various universities, and I had time to go back to school. I'd always tried to finish a master's degree in this and that. I had time to myself, time to renew my faith. Australia was the best. I said, oh, okay. So this is why we so that I can reconnect with myself, with my kids, with family. Because politics, you don't have time for family, for friends, for you are like, let's go.
Yeah.
Whereas Australia, it was like, breathe, child, breathe.
Yeah.
So I came back from Australia having taken rejuvenated and
What are of the 10 commandments, which one you sing we wrote? Okay, let's see.
How can one judge?
Okay, let's see. We listen, we don't judge.
Do not judge.
Okay, let's see the 10
Let's
commandments.
have fun.
Now, let's have fun with this one. Okay, the 10
You
commandments.
should take a sip. I commit.
Okay.
Yeah, sip of that drink.
Yeah,
I
the
should
water.
have water.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, you should have water.
Scout 9 says it, Tata, so you won't be happy with this.
Okay. The first commandment, you shall have no other gods before me.
I haven't broken that one.
Okay. You shall not make idols.
I haven't broken that one.
Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy.
I have broken that one because at times the nature of the work,
Okay.
so you can't observe even if you wanted to.
Okay. Honor your mother and father.
Oh, I've always honored my mom and dad.
So there's no day that you've disrespected them.
Nkile ka zwa ka festival. Nkile ka zwa ka festival nightclub, and I regretted it for the rest of my life.
We see you. Where were you going?
We went to there was a festival or something, and as we
Yeah.
were going up and down, and we look, oh, that's my dad.
And then I was also
He found us we pretend that we were always there all the time. Yeah.
Oh, and then he didn't figure it out.
No,
Okay.
he suspected, but he didn't figure it out. Yeah.
Okay. You shall not murder.
No, I haven't murdered anybody.
You haven't murdered
Although
anybody.
I felt like.
Okay. You shall not commit adultery.
No, that one I'm very clear. Never.
Are you sure?
Never. Very
Never.
sure. Never.
Never ever.
And that's a no-go area for me in a relationship.
In a relationship. Okay.
Yeah.
You should not steal.
Kutsula sukiri. Le mash. No gonna le mash ya mangwe a phakwa ya. Yeah, that one I've broken.
Okay, yeah, that one you've broken.
Every child has broken that one.
You should not bear false witnesses against your neighbor.
Say it again.
You shall not bear false witnesses against your neighbor. I think
Like
this one has
like
love your
listen.
neighbor. Yeah,
No. I understand it, but no, I've had confrontation with neighbors before. Those of you, those that know me from the Europa days, I never had peace with my neighbors. It was a white and black issue, so yeah, it had to happen.
What's the other one? Let me see. You shall not have other gods. You should not make idols. You should not take the name of the Lord your God in vain. Okay. Remember the Sabbath day. Keep it holy. Honor your mother and father. You should not murder. You said this one is a no-no. Okay.
Yeah.
You should not commit adultery. You should not steal. Okay.
The no is the adultery.
Yeah, the adultery. It's a no-no. You should not bear false witnesses against your neighbor. You should not covet.
Kuri umpotsa dipotso tsa sky. Umpotsa bo adult. Ke ra hore. Ke batla go nna sure ka story.
It's a podcast.
Ke batla gore o thamalale umpotsa dipotso tse di agabatsang.
It's a podcast.
Ke mao.
And you get a cool. Moving on now. What role do you think? I mean, the leadership role is a role like we play, or like we undertake that role from Bunyinyani Mbaron, whether as a sibling, as an older one, even as a child, as a mother, stuff like that. Still on God. Would you say it's ideal for someone to center their leadership role on God, or you can just do it on autopilot without God?
Nna ka bo nna hela, you cannot achieve anything without God. We must always have anchors. Ga ke itse gore ha Modimo ise anchor ga go not bo anchor le mo goeng. I anchor mo Modimo because at any given point, whether I'm happy, I know what to anchor on. Whether I'm unhappy, whether I'm going through trying times, whether things are so bad, you anchor on God. So ga ke itse gore how sa anchor mo tumelong o anchor mo goeng. And a lot of what I'm going through right now, I can always go to a scripture in the Bible. You can always find a song in the Bible. One of my biggest hymns that I love, ke o bale masego a gago. Wa bale wa umake asna ntheko. That's tamas umaka one. Eme o ta khamalela dineo. To me, at any given ko le pula ena ko famong yame. And then people are stressed gore pula e tori ke ba kere look for the silver lining. Bona gampe go re godisitse tamati, bona gampe go re e dirile bojwang go dipudi tsa rona le dikgomo di tedi. Bona mo e nya ena le seboko. Again, ga se tshwenye re tadila le sona. So at any given point, you must always praise and find say long gore ke dineo tsa gago. And you will find them, trust me, you'll find them everywhere. Everywhere.
Beautiful.
Even breathing, waking up in the morning. I have a Rakhadio 94. She thinks she's dying. I don't think she's dying soon. And she'll wake up and say, damn, am I still here? Yes, because you can't decide. And I mentioned her because at any given point, you're going to be here until, when God decides that it's your time to go.
The hymn says ubale masego a gago. It says count your priceless blessings as an antego.
Priceless, that's nantego.
Yes. O tla gakgamalela dineo. Some people believe that there's nothing such as priceless blessings because, like it says, how do you explain priceless blessings? Masego a gago a se nang theko ke afe?
Masego a me a se nang theko ke gore-
Because rona batho ha re bona Dorcas Makgato, re bona masego a nang le theko.
No, ga na theko.
Okay.
Ha ke tsamaya kere I am going to go into the farming space. Ke a go phunya metsi. Ha ke phunya 20 meters ke bona metsi. There's 100 people ba phuntseng ba go tsana go 400 ba sa bona metsi.
True.
And I didn't have to pay for that. Ke a phunya gape ke bona metsi. Ha ke lema tamati ire se kae. And then nna e be le gore ha go tututa e be e attack di farm tsote ga bo go sala yame. Ke lemile tuta, follow the same discipline as others, but mine is there. Why? But ka gore nna no I'm anchored on God. I then say Modimo wa mo ke sa o direleng sepe. And I praise thee. Always praise thee. And also how se so le gone ho. You know ra so doka so bothale. Ga se bothale jang. Ke bothale jang Modimo. The glory is not mine. The glory is to him.
Exactly.
So lo yana podcast ya ga yana kana ntse ya motero. Podcast ya ga go ha ntse tsweletse glory be to thee.
100%.
Not to you.
Yes.
To thee. So everything se ke se dirang di itse gore ke Modimo a tsere taolo ya botshelo jwa me gore ke ekwe. That's why I don't stress. I don't stress when naki ipoleletse ke le doka gore ke akwa. I have conversations. Silly conversations.
Yes.
And then I always know he works in mysterious ways. He will reveal in time where I go. And then I'll look back and I'll say, oh, okay, so but those are lessons that you need to grow as lessons of life.
Why do you think people always overlook these priceless blessings? Because even earlier on, I thought you would start by mentioning life. Got like life on its own, like that's a priceless blessing.
I did. I said,
I missed that.
That's why I mentioned my grade who's there. Am I still here?
Why do you think people don't realize, or they don't usually mention the priceless blessings? Because like they don't usually feel or they are blessed by another external.
I think it's orientation. I often thank my parents, my mom and dad. My grandmother in particular. How it's easier. Automatic and then uthanya uyitsitumelo.
Yeah.
It wasn't my choice.
Yes.
Nowadays I find gore it's not like how we grew up. We know it's automatic. I mean, I grew up because I tlhaloganya gore ka Sontaga ga go to batho ga ba ikerekeng. Ne ke tso rapa ka Saterdag ga bosigo re boela di beetroot re beola pumpkin re bagale go sa rapa rice hela ka sa everything else. So when we come back from church, but people lifestyles are not like that.
Bro, not like on Sundays, like wake up early in the morning and cook, go to
Yes.
church and then eat
And then you
afterwards.
come back and eat, and you know, and when I was happiest was when my kids all went to St. Andrews College in South Africa. And by the way, ne ke bereka ko private sector ke iperekela.
Yes.
E ke tsenyetsa bangwana ke sekolo gone ko. So it was an Anglican school.
Yeah.
And one of my proudest moments as a mom was when I was invited ba amogelo mo kerekeng. Ke be ke pagama flekere. Ko ngwana o ke choice ga ngwana o tsere tshwetso ya gore o batla go amogelo mo kerekeng. It's not imposed because mine was imposed, and I'm grateful that it was imposed. But ena no itsela tshwetso as an individual. Gore ga ke itse gona gore go strela ba ira. Me like at that time. So we live in different times. There's different churches. Kereke tse dintsi tse di tetseng mono. Le ditumelo tse dintsi tse di mono. Ne di se tena kwa rona. Na re godile ile spiritual Roma, Lontoni, St. John. I think we were 5 at the most. Luther, Methodist, I think 6.
What is your most favorite scripture in the Bible?
My most virtuous woman.
My most
virtuous woman.
Virtuous woman.
It is in Proverbs.
Proverbs 31.
That's my most favorite scripture.
Okay.
I live by it.
Interesting. Who was swallowed by a whale in the Bible?
As John. Okay. We'll check a balance.
We'll check out all.
I be after how many days?
I can't do it after how many days.
Hey, so don't try me, boy.
This one. Okay, no. Okay, how many books are there in the Bible?
I guess.
Okay.
Shortest verse in the Bible.
Jesus wept. Exactly. Yeah, before we move on from this one now. Your middle name is how do I pronounce this? Kobela.
Kobela.
What does it mean?
It doesn't mean anything other than I'm named after my great grandmother.
Oh.
You always so you're always named after somebody. So my father's grandmother was Dorcas Makgato.
Oh.
So I was given all her names. So get Dorcas Makgato.
Oh, okay. So like for me, I always wonder about other people, you know. For me, like my first name is Joseph. I was named after my father, and then my middle name is Moluki. I was named by my maternal grandparents, you know. So I always wonder what about other people? What like the Dorcas name? No,
Kili I think I was named by my grandparents. I stand corrected. Okay. My grandparents told my dad because you're still young. In fact, it's a funny story because my mom and dad met at college, at a teacher training college, Kosoro. And they were still young, both of them. My mother was 18, my dad was probably 24, 25, thereabout. And I came, I arrived. And my mother was not married at the time to my dad. And then I was named after my mom's aunt.
Your mom's aunt.
In my maternal side. Okay. And then when my dad came, so I had to go through that process of naming rights, as it were. Yeah.
So have you met her? Or can I like when I
my great grandma? I haven't met her. I know both my grandparents. I met them. Both of them are gone, but I don't know my great grandmother.
This is here. It says Dorcas or Tabitha was an early disciple of Jesus, mentioned in the Acts of Apostles. She lived in the part of city of Joppa. Yeah. So exactly. So you believe in this thing, like,
yes, I
do. You think Lina
Yes, I do.
Meaning of somebody's life?
Oh yeah, I do. I do. Yeah, no, that what I do, the lyric I poke, but
Okay, yeah, say it.
the edge that I have to help other people. You know, I often say the reason I have a love-hate relationship with politics is when I wasn't in politics and I was doing what I do, it was an honor. Go sena mathata. Ha o le mo politiki wa to o batla dipolitiki ko la ro thusa a person in distress o batla nyoko anta lwana. So by orientation I've always had that. I always go out of my way to share or to help others. Go le normally hela go sena le ha ile mathata and expecting nothing in return. And when you take it back you'll find it go Dorcas. Gore ne le motho wa mohuta mang o na dira jang.
So
I
ke
do
ina
believe
le
in that.
wrong.
Yes, I do.
Most definitely. Let's get over to overcoming now. Yeah, like the segment that we call overcoming. We talk about like where you like the challenges that you have faced and that you are able to overcome. We know tota hela re le batho re itse much about your professional life. You know, before we get to that, are there any personal experiences that you have overcome that you'd like to share? Like, is there like what's the biggest challenge in your personal life?
In my
that
personal
you have,
life. The biggest challenge will probably border on professional. And I think I'd like to say it because I might be talking to a younger person sitting out there. Ha ke hetsa form 5 ne ke le bothare go sekolo ne ke pasise hela sente. But I had clarity in my mind that I didn't want to pursue a science career.
Okay.
Because batho ba bothare ne re bi di crack again.
Yeah.
We were pure physics, pure chemistry, pure biology, additional maths. I did 9 O-level subjects. And I was pressured into go PESC. I was admitted into PESC. You see, pre-entry science course at the university.
Right.
So they used to take about 30 students in the entire country. Ba eleng gore ba dira pre-entry science go UB, and they will go into medicine, into pharmacy, into all science-based degrees. And I was admitted into that, and I refused to go.
Okay.
And by then, I think I'd visited Johannesburg, and my father sent people to bring me frog marched me was school. So I said, no, I'm not going because I don't want to do a science-based degree.
Yeah.
My father, before I knew it, and here I am. I've applied to UB for commerce. I wanted to go business.
Yeah.
And at the time, it was like,
yeah.
But after the family discussion, that's when we used to be raised by communities. We had that earlier discussion. So, Malome, the scholarship is at Depswan. Fila mona go to food technology sign.
Yeah.
I saw food technology, I saw England.
Yeah.
I didn't see anything else.
Yeah.
And my parents tried to talk some sense into me. I probably faked my parents' signature. I don't know. And I went.
Yeah.
When I got to the UK, I found no. I'd basically signed off for a diploma, a 2-year diploma, and I'm coming back home. And everybody when they give a exam class and they're gonna be there for 6 years.
Yeah.
I can't know.
Don't die.
And then I had to sit down and say, how do I overcome this?
Yeah.
And I said the best thing is to pass like you've never passed before. Doing 11 subjects. What I studied so hard and said I have to go and negotiate with Botswana. Got 11 distinctions, I think it is, for the subjects that I was doing. Came home, went to Botswana, young as I was, mohawk, burgundy, earrings to
Rockstar.
here.
Cindy Lauper looking like.
Exactly. Yeah. Managing director.
Yeah.
Dressed like that. Eventually, I saw him. May he so rest in peace.
Yeah.
And I remember going into the boardroom. I didn't know it was called a boardroom. All I remember was a huge table.
Yes.
Huge. And I was tiny sitting there.
Where was this?
That six
Or Rapper House?
building. Yeah.
Okay.
And then he came in and said, yes. So there was a white gentleman, the group HR manager at the time. Because I applied for Botswana, I applied for this. I believe I'm a very brilliant student. I deserve to do a degree. You know when you talk.
Yeah.
And how to get with a diploma, no. And they're telling me that the reason the area I've chosen, it doesn't require graduates. Why should your organization determine my destiny? I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
You know what he did?
Yeah.
He stood up and said, "Give this child whatever she wants.
Yeah.
We need more like her."
Yeah.
And he left. He's like, why really?
Yeah.
He's like, oh, so that's how I ended up overcoming the fact that the hurdle of being brought home.
Yeah.
Gore ke go tswela ke a Bachelor of Science at University of Sheffield.
Yeah.
And then worked for a year in London and then came back.
Yeah.
So that's the first one that to me it was major because if I didn't do that, but I often say, "Unne sengangatela," but bring something to the table.
True.
My bringing to the table was pasa.
Yeah, don't die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what else did I do in terms of overcoming?
I understand that your parents were working class. Your pops was a police officer.
Yes.
Constable. Constable rata go e gatella go.
Ke a e gatella
Constable
because
lenyana fela.
I'm an ordinary child.
Yeah.
And I'm proud of it.
Yeah.
My mother's house, iko community hall.
Yes.
Very, very proud of it.
Yeah.
And I remember when I was nominated, I was actually living there.
Yeah.
And genuine people, I'm nominated to parliament. By the time I get to go bidia ga go tsana go lapeng ke ile gore
Yeah.
go thengkgetse mongwe le mongwe a bina ba re a gampe go tse rwa rona o tse. You
Yeah.
understand?
Exactly.
Genuine
Yeah.
people being happy. Ke a e gatelela because gantsi I've been misunderstood.
Yeah.
The fact that I probably speak English, but what's our go English medium, I'm a privileged child. I lived in a privileged neighborhood. Ke tswa ko setsheng. Ke tsene school. Anything that you see, I see tutile. Gore ke te ke khone go ha ke tsana go nyana ba bua sekgwa. Ke bona re ke bua sa go tsholohelo.
Yeah.
Ke ithuta sa bone gore ke te ke khone gore ke ba khone gore ba nkutu again. So it is very, very important for me. Gore my mom ona bereka ko konotwane pharmacy ba ya go jeta ba go very, very
Yeah, like
important.
I felt like we're finished.
And I say that because bana ba gampieno ba sometimes by too much or you need connections to go anywhere.
Yeah.
But when you do that, otogela your ability within yourself, to be able to go where you want to go because you think you need to know somebody.
Yeah.
But I'm saying you can do without knowing anybody. Yeah.
That's true. So, what are the challenges that you had to overcome? Notable challenges. Are there any like that you can think of?
Not really. Ke akanya before go ditse ke akanya ke tsana go camp primary school.
Yeah.
But to me it was minor. Bana ba gampe go enu my 2000 them I think is major. Ne ke tsana go camp re na Trinity. At Trinity high extension 2.
Yeah.
So going to school go le se rame ne re sna di gloves.
Yeah.
Gampe go so our maid o tabatsa lentsonyana le le round le tsenya mo stofong
Yeah.
sa
Le
di
na le maid.
ya ne ra le maid.
Mara o re lo like no sir.
Go extension.
I know what you.
No, but my mother,
No go je.
bo maidi ba rona bothe.
Ah.
Maitsiwa ne ba skwele. Ke rona ne rapa motogo wa maitsiwa be re thaswa di beisane. E be re itirela.
Yeah, no,
Bona
but
ba
like
skwele.
the fact that you could afford a maid, or like no.
Ora no go le botokanyana.
Madi a puswana la ba.
But then when we were going extension 2,
Yeah.
I think my father was an inspector. Ona promote. I go
Oh, okay. Yeah.
ne number type 2, not type 2, type 3 or
Yeah.
type I don't know, type something.
Yeah.
Gora ne re tsama go. No, but even when my father was still a constable, ne ntse re na le motho o thusa mo
Yeah.
lapeng because my mom was also at work.
Yeah. I know like no it's a bad
Ne go zamega.
But have you ever in your life felt like giving up, Hella?
Never.
Like you've never ever felt like giving up?
Never. No. Giving up. No, giving up is never an option. Give up for what?
Okay.
I'm thinking hard.
Okay. I would like you to.
Although sometimes
Okay.
politics were, should I, but not give up. Should I, or
Step
should I
back,
carry?
yeah,
Yeah, should not even step back. Should I carry on with this thing, or should I go global? Because global, I'll have less stress and I'll have more traction.
Yeah,
You understand?
yeah.
Yeah. But give up.
That's very interesting, and I would like you to
When we
communicate.
give up, I felt like I was giving up on something when I was divorcing. That was the only time that probably I felt that way.
So like that's the only, like you'd say that's the only notable thing that you've given up on, or like that you gave up on rather.
No, maybe get that.
Okay, how would you? Because right now we live in an era whereby we see a lot of youth bipolar over relationships, over a lot of things. We see a lot of youth. Her relationship he feels like giving up and kills the next person. Ha go survive sharp o. But like we live in an era whereby like people are just giving up on themselves, on their lives, on the how would you communicate that to the youth? Like speaking of relationships, you have divorced and you didn't give up in life, and you mentioned Hore, you that's when your political career started.
But
When
I
you
think an anchor, having an anchor is very important. So, now my anchor, yeah, I got to say,
Tumelo, yeah.
any one of us who's an anchor, who's a mentor, who's a you will struggle. So sometimes where we live in communities that are split, ga go tshwane le bogologolo where you don't have a support structure, I would say to the youth, you must have identify someone that can be your anchor or something that you anchor with. Counseling, how is not a good thing. Counseling is a good thing. I went through counseling. I had to go through counseling to accept the fact that it was okay to break the vows. I had to go through counseling because I was tormenting myself what I can't because I committed.
Or like vows ya gore through like until life
Oh yes,
tears
oh
apart.
yes, because also before Kenyalwa we had to go kerekeng, re tsamaya through counseling and all that.
Yeah.
So it was a major decision where I'm giving up on something that I truly believed.
Yeah.
You know, but I had to have an anchor. So
Yeah.
for me, I had to have a counselor.
Okay.
And once she worked through my brain, and then I still had Ko Kerekeng as well, Muruti. And then I eventually took a decision for me to say, no, you know, this is the route I'm taking.
So basically
So
you're saying having an anchor
you
that's what,
must have an anchor. You must have some support. You must have an outlet. Go and say something. Because when I only know si hela, get out hike no si. Na anchor I mudim. I get over I give it unto thee.
yeah.
You know, sometimes when you are so tired that you can't even pray, you run out of words. Urutile gore, what I give unto thee, and you mean it.
Yeah.
You know what my issues are. I give it unto you. I get obo robal. How robetsi modimo a ba tsa taolo. So ga ke tlhaloganye gore how can you live without an anchor or without support? Ga ke re mongwe le mongwe a tsene mo tumelong. But you need you are not complete only one.
Yeah.
You can't be complete only one.
True.
Because we are living beings. And we need someone or something to breathe in to urge us to carry on.
Is that your formula towards life, fella? Towards each and every challenge that you encounter with life? Is that your formula all the time?
Now my formula is very simple.
Okay.
I always believe gore, you know, the other day I was traveling and somebody was saying,
Yeah.
it is as simple as that for me. So ga ke gakologelwe gope ha ile gore mo tseleng ke tsamaile mo go yone to date, I did not believe or feel the presence of God. And a lot of people do not know that about me. But it is out there.
Yeah.
That's what I feel. And I don't necessarily believe gore modimo go tsamaya le nna go supa ha ke le ko kerekeng. Ka gore ke ko kerekeng, not necessarily, but wherever I am.
Yeah.
I'm a child of God. He will always take care of me. Yeah.
So how do you deal with public criticism and scrutiny? I mean, you are, you know, that's something saying I'm exposed to, and I always wonder.
Do you struggle with it?
No, ever since at first I did, and then ever since I rekindled my relationship with God, I'm bulletproof now.
Bulletproof.
Yeah.
Exactly. So once you decide that you're going to be in the public, once you take that whole omote, expect criticism.
Yeah.
You cannot be loved by everybody. The other day I was talking to my brother Ntaramais. We were having fun somewhere.
Yeah.
And you know, how 200 pool. How much?
Yeah.
My dear, it's not everybody that's gonna love you.
Aha.
One time one.
Interesting.
People will always hate. People will. There are people. And the other day also, someone was saying, go na le motho e leng gore tiro ya gago mo botshelong ene talenta e hilweng ke go hate. Ha tsoga they must hate. So when they hate, it's their business. It's not my business.
Especially the influencer.
Yeah, imagine how come motsela go hate. It dara tsoga o ta direng. Now I'm getting on.
Yeah,
I'm doing. They're getting on because tiro ya go ke go hate. So
Yeah.
I don't like it necessarily. Sometimes, you know, khona go utswa moanyana wa gago. But you quickly say,
Looking at the fact that you are a woman, like we are designed to carry the heavy weight. But when you are a woman, on top of that, you receive public scrutiny and criticism for the serious, you know, like leader minister, like whenever something goes wrong, we blame
when I'm firm,
Ministry.
when I'm firm, I am arrogant.
Exactly.
When I said myself, she's arrogant.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you are firm, oh no, he's firm.
Yeah.
It's a society that judges you not using equal measures.
Exactly.
I don't bother too much. I account to God. What I can say, I get a post, I get na hats, get a mudimwam. I get. So I get trailers, hang on na hats, I will be accepted by each and every individual. I'll be setting myself a wrong objective.
Yeah.
And normally when you start shaking things, when you start pushing, even if you run an organization and everybody loves you, nobody says there's something wrong.
Yeah.
So naturally, by virtue of the fact that when you are going vertical, there's fewer of us out there, in this vertical graph. So retarget for batho ba bantsi because ba bantsi ba sala ko morago. So when you go there, more criticism. So if you're going to be successful in your podcast, for instance, it's allowed to go tassel.
Hey, like they have every day.
Yeah.
Every day. I go through that every day.
Just take what you think you can use out of that and use the rest, just ignore.
Is woman on woman hate a thing?
Yes.
It's a thing.
Yeah, it is.
How do you maneuver through that?
I think when you are attacked by other women, it hurts more than when you are being attacked by men.
Is it?
But I think it's because you have a false impression. And I'll say false impression because that's a false impression. Because it's okay.
Yes.
But because you are a woman, you expect them to come with you. And ha ba sa go feel go bothokonyana go gaisa ha ile motho wa rre motho wa rre ha go hita wa itse we live in a patriarchal society they ba hela kana basadi ba tshwantse re ba gate ha re ha go dimo ga bone this and the other. But you often think if it's women, they'll all be aspiring with you at the same time. Not all of them.
Yeah.
The majority maybe, but not all of them. And I make peace with that.
Yeah.
In my leadership roles, I've been supported by both women and men. I was sports council when I was chairperson of sports council for many years, or vice chairperson because that was an elected position. Out of all the affiliates, we didn't have women.
Yeah.
But men will vote for me.
Yeah.
And that is why women also tend to vote for a man. I don't know.
I think it's because naturally, hell, I think it's designed that men, a man is designed to lead. So psychologically, hell,
is it natural though?
Yeah, I think it's in a psychological imprint.
Or it's traditional.
Like I think it's natural because even in the Bible, I get it's God, man, Mosadi, then ban. So I think, I believe, even in the Bible, using God as our anchor, they are women like you, but is it Deborah? Yeah, I think it's Deborah who came at a point where men were sleeping, and then like abatla awaken, ababa power. You get it? I think it's natural where banna ine bona ba baleng in leadership, but ha gona le boitsemeteng. There are women like you and other women who are doing great things there to come in and get the bait and awaken men and then leave the whole thing to them all over again.
Tsogang.
Yeah, tsogang ban.
Basadi?
Mamba Sadi, Mantra.
Tlhagafala.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Nya ke re o no mpolelela hore ne le robetse go gong. E rile le robetse la tsoshwa ke mosadi a ke re ehe.
Emma. Wow, beautiful. Okay. Emma, wait. Beautiful. Interesting. Interesting. Yeah. Okay. Shout out to KT. What's it? Shout out. There's something. Since we'll get to your ministerial roles, but since we're talking about Pina Yasachaba, and since you were the minister for trade and industry, you introduced Cosboss, right? Emma.
Yeah.
Trade, industry and investment. You introduced Cosbots, I get. Regular about another question here. Is KT Motsete getting anything from the national anthem? Like, are there royalties that is
I
getting?
don't know. I would not understand why you shouldn't get it, because the law that we passed, or the regulation that we passed, is that whenever the composer is Monga Pina, every time it is played, you must get royalties.
Yeah.
Yeah, no ga ke itse. Ga ke batla gore ke re ke a itse gore ya no ye ka ke pina ya setšhaba.
Yeah.
Did he do and pass over the royalties, or is he entitled? It will be interesting to find out.
Yes. But as you set up Cosbots, like, no, those ideas.
Yeah, let's talk about individuals. There are can say hela gore monga pina ha e letswa ke ba bangwe o tshwantse gore a boelwe ke sengwenyana.
Yeah.
So I don't want to limit it to a person ka gore ga ke itse, but ke itse hela gore ha o le ma Maxi, oh, she's going to be so happy. Ha o le Maxi o dirile pina be re tsama re letsa mo di shopong re bitsa batho, we must get something. So the more we play it, when you play it on radio and re rata radio station ka go tshameka Mexican or tshameka Franco kana tshameka mang, you know. So we expect you to get something in return.
Yeah, because it's only ideal for KT Motsete's legacy and estate to be benefiting from it now.
Probably, yeah.
You get it. Let's talk about failures now, Mama Kgato. I mean, you can never be successful without failures, and you can never overcome challenges or failure. What is your experience with failure, and how has it shaped your journey to who you are now?
Ga ke se ke dirise le go failure. Go challenge.
Okay, challenge.
I've used failure. No, it's not a word that I use.
You are used to winning, so you are not.
I know that there can never be a success journey without challenges along the way.
Yeah.
And I take it that if you have given yourself an objective that I will achieve this, and then you do not achieve it, I take it more as a challenge than a failure. I think the word failure, take it as a challenge, because if you take it as a challenge, then you're going to have a solution for it, or something that you'll counter. So I struggle with that failure.
How do you describe challenges in life?
Challenges for me, things are not going in accordance with my plan. And the plan ke dirile sengwe se se maleba gore ke dirahatse so seo be sa diragale. So if, say for instance, I'm on a political journey, and then I plan that I am going to win a constituency, and then I work hard to win that constituency, and then I lose it, I have a choice. I would get a face.
Yeah.
I have a challenge. I would get, oh, wow, this is a challenge. When you go through this, you can win, you can lose.
Yeah.
This is a challenge. What do I do better next?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have lost Ditlhopha twice now. 2019 you lost, right?
Okay.
I think you win 2014 you won, right?
Ke winne Ditlhopha tsa Domokraga 2014.
Okay, yes.
Ke winne Ditlhopha tsa Domokraga 2019.
19.
Ditlhopha tsa Domokraga 2020.
4. Okay.
Ke be ke winna di-national 2014.
All right.
Ke be ke loser 2019 le 2024. Thakanya maths.
Yes, a lot.
Ke be ke winna ditlhopha tsa women's wing. Ke be ke nna unopposed ke di win.
Yeah.
So thakanya.
Yeah, a lot of times.
So we, in this journey, we tend to concentrate on I lose ditlhopha tsa no, but let's look at the total picture. Very, very profound and important.
Okay, yeah. There's something that I wanted to ask you, but I think we're rebelling in a way. Okay, you've lost the Ditlhopha twice, 2019 and 2024.
And I've won them 6 times.
Yes, and you've won them 6 times. I wanted to ask you, Gore.
Or 4 times. I don't know.
I wanted to ask you, Gore, what keeps you going? Because as you have recently said, you'll be standing in or campaigning to become the BDP president or for BDP presidency. What keeps you going? Even because for someone who'd say, okay, I lost in 2019, I lost in 2024, but how do you overcome that thing and still bounce back?
I would say in 2019 I won with numbers
Okay.
at BDP level, and I lost at national.
Okay.
I would also equally say I won in 2024 in numbers at BDP level.
Yeah.
And then I lost. But you must look at how many people voted for him. Go about 4,000 plus.
Yeah.
Hey, there's a lot of people that are in parliament by law. They probably got 2,000 they're lucky. So you analyze it and you say, what is my journey? My journey is not about, my ambition is not to be mo parliament wa Swapon South only.
Yeah.
My core ambition is to give back to this country that has given me so much.
Yeah.
And you can do it in various capacities. It might be whether through where Melabo Parliament, it might be wa to party ya nice kami kwe it might be what's ama wa go nna kemedi. Why is it that I was still able to work? Haine lo gore go lose the top is a failure. I shouldn't have been able to go get go emela so there's always things that you do. Right now, I run a farm.
Yeah.
I employ tens and tens of people. You know, at some point they were about 150 to 200. But right now, because of rice size, is probably less.
Yeah.
But so that's why I cannot probably fail. I cannot say I'm a fail. I'm not.
Yeah.
I continue to live and I continue to change my journey, do other things, you know. Yeah.
100%. Let's talk about leadership now. Like I said earlier on, I don't know where to start with you.
Leadership.
Yes, because there's just a lot of roles.
Similar
that
like
you have.
a girl guide.
Yeah.
Get captain.
Yeah.
And at bar, go primary school.
Okay. Where's the genesis of your leadership journey? Take us through that. Like the genesis, like from the first time you became a leader and then what like you and
I think my first leadership would probably go as far back as go primary. Kile captain, I think it's netball team. Or kile girl guide.
Or like
Yeah,
Center
but my real leadership came haxes kile go secondary and post secondary kile captain of volleyball. Volleyball is my team. That's what I played to national level.
Okay.
And then became chairman of our team Yako Rapa. At the time, you know. So I've always been somewhat in leadership.
Yeah. Something that you hardly mentioned on your interviews is motherhood. Like that's a leadership role on its own.
Oh yeah, 4
Yes.
boys.
Yeah.
Touch wood.
Yes,
Hey, I go
yeah.
by behavior. Someone.
No, they will. Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, netball, the captaincy go netball. What else?
Volleyball.
Chairmanship, go volleyball, the captaincy, volleyball. And then there's like when you get to Warapa now, after school, right? You started off as catering management. Like
I started,
remember, a certain politician who Masapi. So
From Masape to the boardroom.
yeah, that
Yeah.
Yes,
But it's banter.
yeah.
Look, I always change my journey. Remember the story I told you earlier on, when I went to the UK. I looked at UK and nothing else. I didn't even know what I was getting myself
Yes.
into. But I think at the core of my being, I'm an entrepreneur. I say that because concrete, and then she'll pay us my 25 tebe. Now I'll take my 25 tebe ka go reka flour, ke be ke apa magunya maitsi wa re le mo staganeng. I'm sure my 2000 would know when we are in the cooking area. I'll be cooking these fat cooks and all my cousins, because that's when we used to go to nna ke tebe ke rekisa magwinya ke a kolotisa ka moso a re tswa go tsaya concrete ke re nyantuela pele nkuku pele ga o banela madi a bone.
Yeah.
You know, when I was at Lotsane, I would plat.
O no se gela ko Lotsane?
I was gala ko Lotsane. I would
okay.
plat and I'll charge one pula
We
per
went there
line.
too.
You went to Lotsane?
Yeah, they
That's the
gave
best
as
school.
well.
That's the best school.
Yeah, well, the dopest.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I would plat people. I've always, at any given point, made money for myself. I was fiercely, and I still am fiercely independent. So I get to go school, go book center, go guy, just so that I can have my own money and I can decide what I want to do with my own
What
money.
was inspiring that, Makgato? Because I mean, we are used to women being unlike that. You know, women are hardly, you know, got like.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Who is firstborn, and also I'm a fiercely
your first
independent
leadership
person.
role.
Ke
being a
firstborn,
firstborn,
ne ke sa batle go tshwenya ope ka sepe,
yeah.
ke ne ke sa batle go kopa ope, wa bona, ne ke sa batle go bother my mom. In fact, my mother will tell you that when I went to the UK, I remember the first year I was sponsored by Botswana.
Yeah.
She sent me 200 pounds. Like I think pound was 1 to 2.
Okay.
Go UK. Natural parent, ke akanya gore mme a bereka ko jet, o tsaya kae 200 pounds. I wrapped that back in a piece of paper, sent it back home. Ke mara ke re madi a ke a hiwang a allowance. Ha sante kan ke ta bereka. And I've worked all my life when I was in the UK. Waitress, I waited jobs. I sent that money back.
Wow.
My mother would attest to that story because I felt gore I said 200 pounds is so I couldn't. I've been given an allowance that must look after me if I want more. I love beautiful shoes, you know, things. So work for it. So I waited all my life. Yeah.
You are one of the few mothers and parents that we have in the country, but you know what, like that easy with banter. You know,
Easy
you
with
know,
banter, yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
you are
yeah,
very
yeah.
easy with banter.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
like, you hardly take anything to heart or
No,
whatsoever.
I don't.
You know, and like we know now, like in our space that we can,
You know,
you know,
have I been adulterous? You know, yeah.
and
License to kill.
Yeah, and we know that like with you, would hardly get in trouble with that. I mean, what I always wonder, because Botswana are generally unlike that. You know, hey, I don't think Botswana understand banter, but for you it's different. How do you?
I don't know,
explain
and I didn't know I was like that until my famous friend Jujuvan.
Yeah.
Because when my team was angry, you know, and other but always say, "Oh, but
Yeah.
I thought it was so funny. I literally thought it was so funny.
Yeah.
So and I responded in a funny manner that he didn't expect, and that's why we are friends even today. I think we shouldn't take life too seriously.
Yeah.
You know, and I also respect the art. Ba bangwe ba dira jalo ka gore is the art.
Yeah. Yeah.
And as the art, I'm not saying it gives them license or about a tassel, but when they're not coming from a bad place and it's just banter, you must be able to laugh at yourself. I remember Killer Sports Council chairperson at a meeting go BTV. And so there's all that feelings that side. And chairperson, I'm about to start the meeting. Stilo se be se rel.
Yeah.
Be ke nwela ka ata se gata. And everybody's worried. I was mic'd. But she's laughing. You know, and I got out of there and everybody laughed. We carried on with life. I didn't, you know.
Yeah, and I think those are one of the many qualities of of being a good leader. I mean, as you are easy with banter, I don't think that you have seen anyone or disrespect or whatsoever. You know,
I've tried and I dish back.
Oh, okay. Okay.
No,
okay.
not really. Kids, I get it. Remember when Juju Vine did what he did?
Yeah.
As banter. And I can't remember who else was talking about my hairstyle.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I don't think
Yeah, because
I was famous.
Bomma Makgato la mantle mons.
Now internationally, they only get to see.
Yeah.
You
Mama
implying in it,
Kgato la
but I
mantle
must be
mons.
ugly. You understand? So I was like, I know when I'm pata go home, you know, mpata go baba
Yeah.
butali.
And then I remember Amantle Mons took it to
Oh,
heart.
she
Yeah,
took
and then when
exception
you
to
were
that,
light
yeah.
with it, you know, like you took it as banter and all that. Yeah, I'm still on your leadership.
Especially when an ugly man like you, ugly man no mumpi. Get out.
Serious. Juju Mumpi.
Na juju mumpi. Ke motho wa me o mo ke bompe jwang.
Okay, who are the good-looking men that you can talk about? Like,
Good
let
looking
me
men.
know.
Yeah, I'm gonna get
good-looking
into
men.
trouble. Better not.
Yeah,
say.
good-looking men.
Better not say.
Okay,
I'll
like
be in
let me ask
trouble.
you this: DGB,
My,
is he good-looking?
my
or-
children, my children are good. My boys are good looking. My boys are good looking.
DGB.
All of them. My boys are good looking. Gonna get me into trouble.
Okay, still on your leadership. You started off in catering management. Go rap. So usimuluza like a catering management. Like that's a leadership position as well. Okay, and then there was management development.
What happened there is it's a nice story behind that.
Yeah.
Because when I went to school, I did hotel operations, CTC,
Yes.
and catering systems. But then, Khurumenta bata ko rapa one day, abare in our management development center where we train managers, we train supervisors. Irlazana thing about that, 2 years. Because it's a job that can be held. So I was called, I think it was around 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
And told that I'm being transferred from there, but I must go do IPM diploma, trainer development diploma, trainer management diploma. In 2 years, I must be ready to go and train, meaning develop courses, train managers, train whatever.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm game, and I did.
Like that.
Just like that. So I switched.
Like, and then you switched.
And then I came back, I achieved that, I got promoted. And then I thought the space is too small, so I'm getting out of Botswana.
Yeah, like that's where Botswana came in.
That's how Botswana came in, yeah.
Like at
I applied
28.
for a job, and they thought, I think they had said they want somebody who's 35. I was bright-eyed, and I said to them, no. Now I have competence. Forget about the dingwaha. That's why I don't understand about this hula bala about ages.
Yeah.
Because age is just age. Look at competence, look at track record, look at ability, look at skill. Yeah.
Yeah, and then after Botswana, you went on to Balo World, right?
From then on, I was always people like you. People looked for me.
Yeah.
Balo would look for me.
Yeah.
Get a
Like you
call.
always
Come, let's
headhunted.
have a conversation. Have a conversation. Pay me. And then BDR headhunted by the training Kitwa Savage at the time. And that's when I had retired, by the way.
Are you the one? Were you still head of Bedia? How do you that slogan? Botswana,
Yes.
your destination of pride.
Yeah. When I came into BDR, I needed tranquility. Something about tranquility, and people were rejecting that left, right, and center.
Yes.
And I'm the one who came, and we changed the tagline to say our pride, our destination, and then it got accepted. Yeah.
Like that. I mean, as someone who have always been in the private sector for a while, you retired from private sector at 43, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's this gap in Botswana between the private sector and the arts, the creatives. How do you explain that gap?
In what sense?
In a sense that the creatives, like there's this thing, the private sector, the creatives.
Yeah, I'll tell you what the gap is.
relationship in
No,
between.
the
Yeah,
relationship.
Botswana, like they only work with a few. Like they only work with
Yeah.
Cycad, Joe, Chief Ghost,
I'm
Dorcas.
going to blame it on you, the creatives,
Okay.
and hate me if you will.
Okay.
When I used to be at Balo World, I felt that you guys were not taking yourselves seriously. Even when you came to me for a pitch, you were unable to persuade me to know what your value proposition was. Why should Balo World come to you? Remember when I was at Balo World, I lobbied within Balo World to give us $1 million. The first time sports buying a sponsorship $1 million. And that was because at the time I was able to go to my board and say, you are Matex, you want to be known in this country, you want to So we started branding and saying we're Baluwal this, Baluwal that. And for people to catch up, we spent $1 million as part of our market. And I'll say the return on your investment will be you will be a good corporate citizen in this country. And Baluwal, then the rest is history.
Yeah.
It became what it was. So lona ha later go private sector. I look on what we take is out. When I take you, what am I going to get in return? And a lot of people we come but when you are who you are, you are bringing value. Define your value. That's why there is a gap. Private doesn't work like that.
Yeah,
I
it
go
doesn't
to
work
board,
like
they're
that.
saying, why should we spend this money? What are we getting in return? No.
Like there's nothing such as a free lunch. There's nothing such as a free lunch.
Exactly. That's why there's a gap. So you guys need to work a lot and hard at what your value proposition is
I agree.
to the private sector entity, and then the gap will close.
How would you define true leadership in today's world?
Oh, that's a difficult question. True leadership.
Yeah.
It is leadership with empathy. Empathy is key. And it is leadership that's not personal. It is leadership that is for all of us. And it is leadership that is decisive. And it is leadership that is truthful. We must be true.
Yeah.
We must tell people the truth. And I found that in my journey as a leader,
Someone left
every
a
time
WhatsApp
I
group.
told people the truth,
Yeah.
it worked better than if I tried to pull over them. I remember one day I wake up as the Minister of Health and Wellness, and I'm sitting with my team. Find them. We are going to tell them individually, and then I'm going to tell the nation. That's what we did. We're not going to beat about the bush about it.
Yeah.
And we're going to tell them what we're going to do about it. And the nation was forgiving because we told them the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mentioned empathy. How do you balance authority and humility as a leader?
How do I balance?
Authority and humility as a leader.
With empathy.
With empathy.
Because empathy will bring you down. Sometimes when you want to go like this and you're empathetic, it balances you out. I don't know if I'm...
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it makes sense.
And as a leader, you must be humble.
Yeah.
Ordinary person. Because you are a leader. That's why I often say, nna ke Dorcas.
Yeah.
Ha ke tsamaya mo strate motho a mpitsa Dorcas ke sharp. Ke ga mpio ke le simola le re bitsa bo leadership. Mme ke mmagwe gape. And I'm happy. And every time someone says, mmagwe gape, o thana ka speed because o itse gore ke motho o go itseng. How the leadership wa re?
What call I be?
Come fashion.
Yeah, no, true.
Yeah.
But also like it's for me personally, you know, I've been for women, older women like you, it's difficult for me to
old. What's up? Older man. That's a good one. Yeah.
You know, for Batsidi Baba Chwana Nelonana. God, like for me, I find it hard to address you with with your first names or whatsoever.
No, you shouldn't even dare.
You know, yes.
Mahorap.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Mahorap, Mama Khatu,
Yeah.
You know, because like for me, from where I come from, like, but I did by pizza bo mama, kore bo mama Khatu, mama.
So then I'm monana pizza Dorcas.
Hey. Yeah.
Hey.
Only Jujuvine can do that. Yeah. What's the hardest decision that you've ever made as a leader?
As a leader.
Or in leadership?
To retrench people at Barber World when we're downsizing, when we're redefining ourselves. And in Botswana, we're big. We were 10 companies in all. We had Computers Botswana, Plascon Paints, Kalahari Ford, VW Audi, Bemco, etc. And we then, at a global level, had decided that for builders merchants Malmuti, we had to be just the builder of brands. So we had to get rid of builders merchants, but so we had to sell off things and remained with Plascon Paints, Cat, Bellowell Cat, Caterpillar, and PPC, Ready Mix Cement, and Nashua Botswana, I think. We remained with about 4 and VW5 entities. And having to go to some of my best friends and saying, you know, this is painful to do that. But it had to be done.
Around how many people do you have to, like?
At a global level, we were 394,000. We came down to 200 and something. It was over 100,000 people.
Hey, man.
I don't know the numbers now, but
Like-
it was a lot. Momotswana, when we were closing our office, for instance, the global, the head HQ, there we didn't cut people. We were smart. We took the people that were at corporate and put them into the divisions. So we didn't retrench anybody there. Yeah.
Yeah. To the ministerial rules now. These are Mama Katu's ministerial rules. She was appointed Minister of Transport and Communication in 2019. She was appointed. Let me see more like
Trade.
Yeah,
I started
Minister
with
of Trade, Industry and Investment in
5 years,
2010. Yeah, and then Minister of Health and Wellness in 2014. ARV. and then,
That's right.
and then Minister of Immigration and Gender Affairs 2018 to 2019 for a year, and then Minister of Transport and Communications 2019. Which is the hardest, or which was the hardest ministry to lead? Of all these ministries, hardest or most
Or
challenging?
exciting. Challenging.
Okay, most challenging.
Most challenging would probably have been health.
Health. Why?
But I enjoyed it. It's huge. It's a huge portfolio.
Okay.
And at the time, I'd contextualize challenging. At the time, because anything go le mathata.
Okay.
Go sena dipidisi, go sena dingaka, go sena di-ambulance, go sena eng. And we had to go into overdrive to provide. So, and I enjoyed it though.
As someone who has been a minister before, don't you think that it's ideal gore motho ha iriwa minister for a certain ministry abanale at least background there that ministry is focusing
No,
on?
not necessarily. I knew nothing about health, but I knew something about leadership because I had technocrats who were there. I just had to provide leadership.
Yeah.
So for me, how tauja run an organization, and you know internal efficiencies and efficacy of any business, it applies everywhere. So I'm going to go and do what I'll do. Let me look at movement. Let me move at how you replenish. Let me look at your consumption. Let me look at your system. Does your system talk to that system? Same language.
Yeah, but
universal
don't you
language.
think that background they would add some sort of advantage to that?
Probably, but I felt that I didn't need to be a health specialist because I wasn't there to practice curative. I was there to make sure that they run it properly. Are they structured accordingly? You know, do they have the right amount of staff? You know, so that applies to any organ. Sometimes, in fact, I think it's an advantage because how you get bottled onto being a technocrat and not being a leader.
But for some ministries, don't you think, for instance, like Ministry of Education, like you need to have at least a background? Ministry of
some ministries,
Workforce, Ministry of Justice,
Yeah.
Defense, what this and what not. You have
yes,
you gotta have some sort
yes
of
and no.
yeah.
Because remember, you're not executive. Kore, how tsana go? Ona le permanent secretary. Kana le bo permanent secretary. Ona le di director. When you're competent and you have ability.
Yeah.
Ha ba go briefer. O tshwanetse o tlhaloganye o botse dipotso. O re e kana o re nya. Matata ke ha ile o re le wena o mo lehi. Then ba ta go isa kwa lekwa. Tlhaloganye.
Yeah, please
So
explain to us gore go spanang go ministry, because we've had Chili Boy here and he would emphasize in a number of platforms and in as a minister tota ena ipuella ona as a minister hana di power tota ene like rona ka neng re bona how we interpreted it ke gore no ene ke phone hela e ho la gona le batho ba ileng gore they like that.
ga ke batho go bua ka Chili Boy.
Okay,
So
yes.
what I'm going to say is going to be about me as
Emma,
a minister
Emma.
in several portfolios.
Exactly.
For instance, ha ke tsena ko health, because I had led organizations before.
Yes.
I knew exactly what I wanted to do. I said, give me your 4 biggest spenders, because we are being given billions of money.
Okay.
And the 4 biggest spenders happened to be procurement of doctors. It was medical stores. It was centralized maintenance, and then it was referrals.
Yeah.
Then you drill in to say, why are we referring? And it is this and this and why? High low refer and it's costing us X amount of million. Me and specials to cost less than that. Why? You start asking questions by the data that is presented in front of you.
Yeah.
You do have the power to direct. You might not have the power to fire and hire, but you have the power to influence that firing and that hiring.
Having been the Minister of Health and Wellness at some point, why do we have a terrible health system or situation in our country? You go to Princess Marina there, people spend more 48 hours more emergency.
Kore, Holy Minister,
Matsapa di a tsaka,
don't believe everything that you are given.
Okay.
When I was Minister of Health and Wellness, I would be given figures, waiting period on a queue. 15 minutes go Marina, and then I'll just decide on a Sunday evening, or not even a Sunday, on a Saturday or Friday evening, just wear my jeans, wear my sneakers, and I'll observe myself. And then tomorrow I'll say, waiting period. You discovered me after 3 hours. So you must not just believe Pampirewi Nelwa. You must be at it.
Yeah.
I went to Princess Marina and at the time and and I left. I said, that's a little twice a little time pizza. I'm not coming back. And in 2 days they called me back in Trustmeli like a hospital. You have to be at it. At it, always.
So the question was, why do we have a terrible health system now?
I don't know.
How do you explain it?
I don't know. I can explain why we had a terrible system at the time at which I was at health. I can't explain now because I don't know.
Yeah.
At the time, I felt that we were not resourced accordingly. And I felt we were bloated at the top. We had over-centralized, if there's any word like that. We had to take people away from the top and distribute them to where the work needs to be. And we had to have policies that is a favor in Batorobanne mo ditoropong hell. Let's say favor in Batorobanne ku district, because you'd transfer people from district ba paka gono ba raemelela. Yo go ga boro no simula go bolela pele why they can't go, because ngwana o tsana school se se rileng kana mo le go rileng. So there was a mismatch between our processes and what we wanted to do.
Yeah.
And in fact, when I was there, I had wanted gore re gona go patika gore ha motho a etsa school sa bongaka kana etsa and re nne le process ya gore mongwe le mongwe wa go thasha base ko di kgaolong pele ga batho. So it's just a question of management of your resources.
Management. Yeah. In 2010 to 2014, you were Minister of Trade, Industry and Investment. You know, why is it that there is no monetization of digital platforms in this country?
Then or now?
Both.
Now when I was there, I came in when you were saying that Kgalena, you're not getting your royalties.
Yes.
What did I do at the time?
Pass
a law.
Yeah.
Yeah. The question is, did you run yourselves well?
No, like they're not running. I'm not part of them. They are not running themselves.
You understand? I get it?
Yes.
No, we will run ourselves. Give us autonomy to run ourselves. So the question would be, did you run yourselves efficiently?
Yeah.
Or did you not? Because I've passed the law. I've given you regulations. It's what them like that.
No, have I thought? But I mean, now we're living in a digital era now. Even you are a creator yourself. I mean, like you have a lot of followers on social media. You can monetize your pages as well. you know,
I'm
asking you.
218. At least now,
So that's how, you know, because like that's the most question you reports as creators.
Yeah.
Because even on YouTube, for instance, you know, like we are
I
registered
understand
outside.
you have to register outside.
Outside,
Yeah.
yes. And this is something that falls within that.
So maybe
ministry
since
that you
I'm
once-
running for president of my party, should it be something that I must run with? Yeah. I'm going to ensure.
Yeah, must.
Yeah.
But don't you have any light maybe gore go tlhokegang gore
No, I
those
don't want to lie.
digital
right now.
platforms to kgone go
I'll find
recognize
out.
our country and all that?
I can commit to finding out, but I don't know gore ga to bothata bo ha kae.
Please do that. Yeah. Last question now. On ministerial roles. You were Minister of Immigration and Gender Affairs, 2018 to 2019. Gender Affairs. Could you gore bo GBV never wala
wala go
go
gone, yeah.
right? Yeah. Gompieno, there's this course GBV that we have currently. You know, how do you? I mean, people were like they were very much unhappy towards the current Minister of Youth and Gender Affairs, her response and whatever. How would you respond to this course that we have, GBV?
No, we have a serious challenge. Huge challenge. And ga ke itse gore tota ta re tsatsi le re kgone re tabe re dirileng. But it's multifaceted. E simolola ko lapeng on how we raise our children. And we have to accept the fact that we are having single households and women raising boy children with absent fathers, and then a community that does not relate to them like the community we used to have. And then the challenges that we have, where now you have superficial fathers or father figures on social media, other influencers. These are difficult times. And I think we need to go to the drawing board and say, what is it that needs to be done? Yeah. In response to the current times. I mean, one of my children, I shall not say who, more YouTube media, una rata go leba programming on how's a piece of your mom, or how to piece of your I mean, how do you have how do you trigger me and then you laugh, you understand?
Yes.
But that's social influence elsewhere, you know.
Yeah. Who's your who would you say is your biggest influence in terms of leadership? Do you have any?
My mom.
Your mother.
My mom, for sure.
Like, tell us a bit more about it.
My mom, because I think she's a super intelligent person, but her circumstances. I think if she lived during our time, she would have gone a lot further. But she sacrificed her time to bring us up and make us who we are today. Very balanced person. Relied a lot on religion. She's my influence as far as that, and even today. I think in her 20s, to the best of my recollection. And shame, she's this superhuman being who's thinking she harms no one.
Yeah.
She couldn't even beat you up.
Yes.
I don't think she's ever beaten any of us. She just couldn't, you know. But she was always there, always. Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Let's talk about BDP now, Botswana Democratic Party. I mean, 2024, a tragedy struck Ko BDP, you know.
Only if you're a Democrat you will say that.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, a lot of people didn't see that coming, you know. I don't think. But okay, the majority of people.
A lot of us were worried that we are not going to get a majority. It was very clear in our mind the vibes that we're getting from the ground, we're not going to get a clear majority.
Where was the worry coming from?
The worry was coming from the feedback we were getting from the community.
So the people were telling you?
Yeah.
Feedback.
Now campaigner, you have a campaign team, they come back with piece of paper. They tell you, we start looking at your trend analysis.
So it was unlike the previous times?
No, it was certainly unlike the previous. You could feel it. Yeah.
Having been inside the camp and being one of the people who were campaigning.
I think today's voter ga tshwanele voter ya maloba. I think we probably took our voters for granted.
Okay.
Yeah. Ke gona ha matsapa a duleng teng gore tsa gore ke madomokraga ba ta go thopa domokraga. Clearly that wasn't the case.
Yeah.
So we took them for granted. But they didn't. We thought ha lo modomokraga o itse mathata a rona o itse o ta re thopa o tata o buela le rona ko ntung. That wasn't that. The second thing is I think we missed the changing and moving demographics. Different needs.
Yeah.
Bone ba na le se ba se batang ba batla language e ba e tlhaloganyang ba batla us to be responsive to their challenges. Manano a rena ni rata ka one were all of them responsive to all their challenges? Probably not. So we need to go back to the drawing board and say, how do we harness this area to make sure that whatever programs we come with, they're in alignment with the aspirations. The issue of unemployment. Because much as we say we cannot all be working class, we can also not all be entrepreneurs. So there has to be a lot of effort injected onto creation of employment so that those that want to work find work, and those that so entrepreneurship should be a choice. To do something must be a choice, because it's coupled with how many of us have appetite to when I was a hustler. How many of us have got appetite to? Sometimes it's okay to just wait for a month and be paid, pay your bills, get on with life. But when you run a business, there's different ball game altogether. Maybe you choose you don't want to do that, so there must be employment. But we must also be alive to the fact that even developed economies, they still suffer similar problems to unemployment. So mindset change comes into that, where you are saying, beyond just being employed.
If you are asked this question, what are the main reasons? What would you say are the main reasons for BDP to lose elections for 2019?
Unemployment.
Unemployment.
We did not understand the demographic at 2000.
Matuke. Clueless.
Yeah, not according to me, I could be wrong, but according to me, like we are in present because we kill BDP. Okay. But in general, because I'll then
don't you think that thing with the Bedi was part of Bedi?
But that's why I get
BDP Bedis and
stop it. And then the Wartau Pager. And then the third one, the perceived corruption. And I'm using that word by choice.
Yeah.
Because Ghana Harisiru Ilaha Longore, Honali Pruvia thing akir. Kijipu Tsibuya Hankore, corrupte Rasenya.
Yeah.
So until then, I will use that word or perceived corruption. Sometimes perceptions matter more than facts. And the opposition outmasters in terms of their offering. People understood what, but I get that made the fact that but they outsmarted because they knew that the people wanted to hear that, and they did that. Now we try to reason. To say, like
nela count.
Honest. So those are some of the reasons why, and also the fact that we have been in leadership for a very long time. A very long time, you know.
A number of Democrats, how about both, are like they blame it on the leadership, and that leadership it includes you, I believe. I get you were the what your women's wing, right?
No.
Or like you were no
Remember
longer
for the last 4 years I wasn't.
Last
5 years, right? I was in Australia.
Yeah, and then came back.
It's natural for any organization. I get why it's a private sector hela, her company loser. Or fire a CEO. And they're applying that model to the BDP.
Yes.
That's why they're taking the president. You were in charge, so you take the fall. But anybody that will think that if you say take the fall, automatically win. No, not necessarily. It is more than that.
Yes.
It is the leadership. It is other things. Say, don't worry. We need to fix within the BDP. let's also look at ourselves. Or did we talk? Did we vocalize our concerns? What did we do with the power that we had to talk to the leadership? Because going forward, we have to come up with processes tse di re letang gore motho o mo kwa ga lentswe la gago le utlwa le nne motsaya karolo e se ka nna participator. Le bo boi jo ja rona jo sometimes re boi re nyama re dimale re tshwantse gore re bue re bua re sa thasele mme re bua hela gore di utlwe di bankanyega.
Why go ilwe di primary late, and why was the date ya di primary announced it's very late? Le di tlhopolo announced it's very late. What was going on?
I don't know, because remember now I was just coming from Australia. I just had to roll with the punches. I really do not know gore matsapana a di tsa ka ke ra gore ke re se re ko congresseng go ileng gore ba ka re bolella gore kana delayed ka mabaka a gore those are all the things that we have to interrogate. So I don't
but
know.
As you know,
I can only say that they were later than what we are accustomed to. Usually we do them a year before. That is why we are saying let's only they were a contributory factor.
Exactly. Kind of like this time around, like I remember the primary day announced 2 months. Like I'm not too sure. And I remember the Democrats were crying, but they are bleeding money. Le Natagweta Paulson Majak. Like he said it very publicly. We are bleeding money. We don't know what stuff like that. So as the question is, as opposition now, with the whole 2029.
Ouch.
I'm sorry about that. With the whole 2029, and then let's say by that time.
No, I think is wrong. I can remember those will be conversations that we are going to have. Corona le madam kra re interrogate re batisisa gore ga tu ka ntwe matsapana a tswa kae ke so, and also I'm talking as an ordinary mortal. I'm not in the leadership. I'm not in any party structure, and I wasn't at the time. So and we haven't had a conversation at BDP level that tells us gore ke eng no gona le that delay akere ke so di karabo tse ra di batla gore re kopile re teri banka and those we have internally so ga ke itse gore ke ndo go ntse se ke se itseng ke itse gore manoko no kwa teng ko na rabo
as a leader campaigning for the BDP presidency now, how are you going to unite the factions saying like that within the party, or like how are you planning? Because every party has factions. I believe like literally in party in all the factions.
To have factions, it's normal.
It's a
but
normal
you
thing.
can't have factions saying gore ga di buisane bile ga gona go di kopanang teng ga di na sense of belonging to the center. They must belong to the center. First and foremost, ke gore an honest conversation must be held by all Democrats. We must go to where we go, such as Congress, where we go sit down openly and freely, without fear, talk about what our issues are. That's why Democrats have been saying about Congress, and that shall happen. And I'm pushing for that as a person I want to hear what Madam Graga is saying. Wherever you go, you sit and you just listen to them. And then you go to them. You go cell by cell, or you go branch by branch. And you allow them to bring representations if they wish. Because if we don't,
one would wonder, you've been part of... Wait, when you are voted specially elected, was join a BDP automatically rather than...
I was BDP before joining.
Oh, you were BDP before joining?
I was just a silent member, yeah.
Oh, okay. You've always been a member of the Botswana Democratic Party. Yeah. And you've never really...
No, I don't say always. I'll say that at the time at which I was specially nominated,
yes,
I was member of the BDP.
Yeah. And you've never really had your ambitions to be president of BDP. One would wonder, why now?
I get it honestly, like, this is a moment in history.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That moment.
This is, we've never ever had a moment such as this one,
Yeah.
where we are in opposition. We don't have a sitting president. We don't have incumbency. Any person who is a Democrat who believes they have the skill and the competence to lead, come forward. Eh. So hanga se ke suletse le bogo batho ba ka ha khamala gore antse ikadila no salary ga khoni, especially I mean I was hoping that there will be more women to come up. So it is important.
Yeah.
That ka nya re teng re na le bokgoni re na le experience re ra itse gore re ka leader go botlhokwa. That's why I've raised my hand up. You are asking why before have I not expressed an ambition. Go na le culture. Culture rona go BDP is not one that necessarily encourages that. O is taboo. If you go historically,
Yes,
so
My Vincent can tell the story.
you know, but I give she's not here.
Okay.
So, you know, different circumstances. At the time, her race was against the sitting president. My race now is against anybody. That's why I'm saying.
Yeah,
So different circumstances. Yeah.
How about another? I mean, with your ambitions, how about another BDP president? Eventually, you have ambitions of becoming the president of Botswana.
Why not?
Yes. Are you ready to become president of Botswana, like the first female president of Botswana?
Ready on day one.
Hey, man.
Ready on day one.
Yes.
Eh.
So has this always been a living ambition? It's open now. You.
I don't remember actually, because I've never I got into politics by default. I don't remember a moment in time when I said one day I'm going to be president of the country. Apparently, but I just don't remember vividly when that was. But now that we are here, I'm saying I want to help my party get up, and an opportunity presents itself for us to go into a race. They have accepted me. Why would I be a presidential president of a party who doesn't have ambition to lead? It will be so illogical. So I must have the desire to contribute. I do have the desire to contribute. God willing, if it's my journey, shall be my journey. Maybe it's not my journey. We shall find out.
What would be your leadership approach if ever you are appointed president or you are voted in as president of the Botswana Democratic Party?
Empathy.
Empathy.
I keep on going to empathy. Empathy where we tuta batho, and we tuta batho gore ba talkang ba batang ba kanya jang ba approach jang. Because you find that different demographics in the private sector is cutthroat. Boom, boom, boom. Hey, in politics, you must nurture. Because the fact that the person knows that they have a vote, they have certain expectations, and they have certain cultures of how they utilize that. So, kumo rapela gore modimo o thuse o rapele gore o thaloganye motho o bidwa mothopi. And be able to have a language e leng gore o ka go thaloganya go rata go he top. Because sometimes you might have all it takes, have the competencies, have everything. About tima top ka gore go na le sengwe so sa tsamaisang. Yeah.
Malobane re bona on social media, Makoba declare his assets. And like a lot of people never like what's Hameka chess. All the say the penalty baba.
How?
Would you declare your assets publicly?
Why not? Go declare the asset is not a big deal. But right now, I don't want to seem like I'm attacking him. You use him as an example. But nageta what I get on harta mantengu BGP. It's not a requirement. How ngwe ha so is requirement to be tsenya ba ke rona ba simula ba botsa dipotso o tsa ka ilorise for
Yeah.
go sa talk whether you are trying to be genuine and you know. But remember, I've been a public figure.
Yeah.
I've been declaring my assets. So even anybody who batang when I go to any pushim abe go tsana go di archive ba go tela ke declare sengwe se se so it's not foreign to me. Even when I was ambassador, I think isimula go level in you declared. So be declared. but they are just not out there in the catalog or le bone gore ke na le eng ko kae.
Yeah. The last time I checked, you were the only woman in the race.
I still am.
Yeah. Oh, you still are.
Yeah.
Banna ba le Mama Kgato. Banna ba le bo re Slamba, bo re Balopi, bo Ami, who else? Bo re Nonofu Molifi, bo how about Tshabe? How about Tshabe banna ba le?
Ke tshaba eng? Kana when you enter a contest, it's not about gore o tshaba motho. It's about the position. Do I have the competencies that are required by the position?
Yes.
Yes. Do I believe that I have what it takes? Yes. Have I demonstrated leadership capability before along the same lines? Yes. When I talk about having conversation le madam kraga, coming up with structures, I did that. I ran for a women's league, women's wing chairperson. The first thing I said, we cannot meet every 2 years to come and fight. Yeah. That's why I said, why don't we have a structure that is an interim between congresses that are elective, and we put it in, it's called General Assembly of Women. One of the laws that was passed in Parliament, which was alignment of the penal code, le gore Children's Act ya rongwana o bokae re dila ka kganya gender-based violence ya bana ba neng go robala le bona santse ba le banyane, came out of a resolution na Congress ya bone, out of the General Assembly to the elective Congress, and then ebe re isa go minister gore tsenya molao.
To Madam Kraga a gompieno, why should they vote you instead of other men who are running for presidency?
Because I have what it takes. I have broad experience. I think the ministries the current. My CV says 4 ministries, but D7. Remember, I did industry, investment, and trade.
Yeah.
Can be a quick entrepreneurship and trade. Get 2 ministries. Remember, I did transport and communications. Can be infrastructure and ninyan. And then it's health. Hey.
And then you did gender.
Gender can be go sports. Remember, I was the chairperson that lobbied for the establishments of the Ministry of Sports in the first instance under President Ramogai. So, and then yeah.
If ever let's say you win Ko BDP and then 2029 BDP comes back under you, what would be your leadership approach if elected as the president of Botswana? What would you do different now going forward?
Going forward,
Yeah.
I think I will want us to improve on the way and the manner in which we get ideas. I find the ideas, for instance, sometimes the infrastructure or the aura ya thing it limita ka ilong ro ka tsa di idea ka teng because it's structured. So I'll find different vehicles of getting ideas so that these ideas can resonate. Beyond the khotla. I'll go beyond the khotla and find a way and a manner in which we can engage Batswana. At the end of the day, tabe re puso ya Batswana. Gore ta re kgone gore se re se dirang ebe re se dira mmogo. I would want to encourage gore re ska rana partisan thata. Kore Motswana ke Motswana. Gore yo mongwe ke mo Mokoraga, yo mongwe ke mo BNF, yo mongwe. It doesn't matter. Re Batswana, we have the same needs. So sometimes ke feel gore o ka re batla go harologana gore tabang re hitana re tsara ha o le mo Mokoraga ga ba siam, ha o le mo BNF kana mo UDC ga ba siam. No, we are one people.
Yeah.
We have the same needs. So we ought to be able to come together under a table. Re buisana. So se re se ngwehela mo minding wa rona gore Motswana a benefit, cross-pollinate these ideas. Absolutely nothing wrong in that.
Do you think that Botswana are ready to have a female president?
I
whether
hope
at
so.
Party level or at...
I hope so. I've been told gore they are not ready, but let's see. Let's try. Why not? e le rona te re harologana jang le Maatsamo re harologana le Namibia re harologana le Tanzania re harologana jang le Malawi re harologana what is so special about us se e leng gore se re ga re ka ke ra nna le a female leader.
Because I was watching one of your interviews, like when you introduce something new as a leader, you need to also understand batho ba ha kae by that time. Are you how like the way far more progressive than where they are at that particular moment? So that's why I'm asking you this in terms of female
Ora
leadership.
re na le 58 years mo pusong e be re santse re le ko
I
ga ke dumele thata because we haven't had problems because we have been leading
okay.
in the corporate sector,
Okay.
in the financial sector, in ministries,
Yeah.
everywhere. Go sports council, I led men. And never sharp well.
Yeah.
So I think it's just a fallacy or something that we are pushing. I honestly believe at the bottom of my heart that we are ready. I don't see why not. Otherwise, only in politics do we have a lesser number of women. But if you go out there to the world, you go into government, you go into quasi-government, you go into private sector. No, really, yeah.
Would you say it's important to have more women in leadership and gender doesn't really matter?
I think we must have more women in leadership because we look at things differently from men.
In that case, do you think Botswana creates more opportunities for women to be in leadership? Like I'm at this point.
I can
being a woman, you are in leadership
already.
Okay.
If anything, it's probably culture. Because we live in a patriarchal society, some women believe and the way and the nature culture can encourage and that. But where we have absolutely no culture in it, where it's just competence, nothing else. In leadership positions, look back. At some point, we had the financial services. We had NGB in Ele Mosadi. We had FNB in Ele Mosadi. We had Bank of Botswana in Ele Mosadi. At the same time, we had PS in the entire government system.
Yeah, but I get in top leadership. But I get in top. I understand that a woman is required in leadership structure, and I'm not saying that it's a problem to have a woman or women in leadership, but my question is, but I think Botswana does create opportunities for women to be in politics.
We've had women being speakers of parliament.
Yes.
Speaker of parliament, you know? And then she ran parliament well.
Yeah. That's
what you said.
Oh, no, sorry.
Balance. No, really, hita ka dipalo.
Oh, ka dipalo.
Really hita ka dipalo.
Okay. All right. Interesting. So, what are the misconceptions? Are there any misconceptions of women in leadership?
Misconceptions say probably that we are emotional. No. Yeah.
Like there's that as well.
Yeah, there's that. But it's
is it a misconception?
In our country. Ke bo mang ba ile gore ba thokometse malapa?
Baside.
Ke bo mang?
No,
if you go to the SMME, those that are hustling and bustling every single day, what's the matter with the they're making it happen? Ke bo mang?
Ke baside.
Hey. Ba ba tsamang ba ba tetseng go di clinic ba bona gore bana ba teng ke bo mang?
Baside.
Should I carry on?
If
you go into how tsamayela wa go bata mitshelo ba ile gore they are busy hustling ba bata madi gore re ka Christmas be bana le ba ke ba eng?
Baside.
Ba ile gore gona no jana mo go di kerekeng ha re bata re kokwanya madi a seswaite kana a eng ba ile gore ba tsama ba go tola batho go di patela who are holding the society.
Baside.
So ke re tapalo the reason re se ko parlamenteng go re gongwe re le bantsi dipuo tse di buegang gore you have to have such a thick skin. You recently my profile came out re 5 every single day. No, the Dorcas.
Yeah.
And nobody else. Why? Because ke mosadi.
How do you embrace femininity in this male-dominated space, which is leadership? Like while asserting your authority and all that, because at the end of the day, we still need women to be feminine.
What does feminine mean?
Like being feminine is being a woman.
What does being a woman mean?
You can tell me better since you are a
Correct.
woman.
I think there's certain fallacies out there.
Yeah.
For me, I am a human being first,
Emma.
who happens to be a woman. Just like you are a human being first and you happen to be a man. I get. So, ha modimo ha di competency. Ha ga re ha bothale, ha ga re joge ja mosadi bo hella. Joge ja monna bo hetella. Ha re ha strength. Ha re se ke sa mosadi se hella, se ke sa monna se tshwantse. Wa ntana. We are all created equal in the eyes of God. And if you are competent, you are competent. If you have the strength, you have the strength. So ha ke tlhaloganye gore like that's why question how that's why we tell Khotwe Dorcas is aggressive. When I'm assertive, I can say the same thing. A man can say the same thing. But because I'm supposed to be feminine, Toto aggressive. When we are both assertive at the same wavelength.
Same time.
Yeah, session. I'm assertive myself.
Yeah.
Well, I'm decisive. You know?
Google says femininity, qualities or attributes regarded as characteristic of women or girls.
No,
you- No, I'm not saying that you're not feminine. So I think I think the reason why you're saying like when you being assertive, ratona or rough or whatsoever, I think it's because you are in a space saying or like it's male dominated.
Yeah.
And since naturally women have maybe like a lower voice or some sort of aura, you have to push yourself up or radio or whatsoever.
Do we? Or is society the one that expects us to?
Hey, I don't know.
Live in a different world right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what are you saying about femininity? What, like you being a leader and at the
No,
same
not
time,
good as far as I'm
still being
concerned.
feminine?
I'm very comfortable with who I am and I'm a woman and I assume that's natural.
Yes.
So I'm feminine as a woman. I guess. Hey, so get sharp.
Yeah.
And but I don't want it to be misconstrued to represent anything else other than the fact that I'm a woman. Yeah.
Interesting. Let's move on to entrepreneurship now. Having worked in trade and investment, what do you think the key to success in entrepreneurship is in Botswana? Hustler rakotewa wena. Beyonce says a diva is a female version of a hustler. Are you a diva?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Entrepreneurship, it's in the context of Botswana. I wish people could understand gore it's about you yourself making it happen and taking responsibility yourself to make it happen. And not expecting anybody else other than yourself to make it happen. So, how we're not at the level of entrepreneurship. How we're not at the level of entrepreneurship because when you must make it happen, you must cause it to happen. You must deliver a product that makes sure that Botswana support you. Rather than somebody else. I mean, I tell people I refuse to be called a farmer. I'm an entrepreneur in the farming space. I'm making it happen in the farming space. I won't sit and say, "Can I?" But the retailers, I'll make it happen for them to buy from me. How opposition in less. Opposition not meaning politics. I must understand the space called entrepreneurship. You know.
Interesting.
So I must hustle.
What would you say to the girl child out there? How would you encourage a girl child out there?
I'm going to say the world is your oyster. I'm going to say look at how far I've come from an ordinary person who is in camp primary school, abaya ku GSS, abaya ku Lotsani, abaya Mahatsisbeg, abawa. You can be anything that you want to be. I never ever thought I needed anybody to help me along. I thought I needed my hands, my brains, my work ethic. Have impeccable work ethic. It will take you places. And don't limit your world to government. Even when you go into business, business you go further than how will come to your rescue. That's the nature of business. So, girl child, the world is your oyster, and you can be anything that you want to be.
To the boy child?
To the boy child, my boy, I want you not to look at the empowerment of the girl child as your disempowerment, because you are made as it is within a society that already propels your power. So just don't be threatened by the power of girl child. Work with girl child, you'll make history.
Mama Khat, please say the last words to the people.
To the people.
Emma, are you coming back again? Like, are
I
we
will
gonna
come
do
back.
a part 2 of this?
We'll do part 2 of this. I'm going to say how pleasantly surprised I was with you.
Thank you.
Never judge a book by its cover. When people are like papa, can't they? Can't do sorry, you know. And I'm going to say to the people out there, Peso, I'm hoping to be the next president of the BDP. I need your prayers. I need your support. So yeah, thank you for listening to me.
Like, when are the elections again?
Soon and very soon.
We are going to see the king.
Yeah.
Not including Perth, Sydney, and London. Best holiday destination.
Best holiday destination. Florence.
Florence. Where is Florence?
Italy.
Italy.
Oh.
Italy. That's what my mom says.
Italy. Oh, okay, Florence.
Yeah. I like quiet. I like places where you can walk and walk. And, yeah.
Yeah. In Botswana, like best holiday destination in Botswana?
Chobe.
Kochobe. Like, I thought you'd say Chopo.
Chobe.
Mama Katu, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
This was beautiful. And I wish you the best on your quest to become BDP party president.
Thank you.
I wonder, what is your what are your benefits?
Nothing.
Like in becoming BDP party.
Nothing. The benefits are you are then in charge of the transition and the rebuilding of the party.
Okay.
You're not just a bystander.
Okay. No. All the best, Mama Katu. May God bless you and your journey. Amen. Our prayers and all that. To the overviewers, thank you so much for tuning in. Hasta la vista. Ciao.
Ciao.
Away.
From the capital, this station is now the ultimate power in the universe.